Hey everybody, it is showtime right now. It is Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. We're going to get into some sales. By the way, I'm Jeff. You are at hayfrosells. We're going to look at what I sold within the last 20 hours or so. Some pretty decent sales, surprisingly. Yeah, and then we're going to get into some YouTube conspiracy about deleting comments. I spoke with YouTube today. Well, I didn't speak with them. I chatted with them. And we're going to get into some comments on yesterday's video. I believe it was yesterday's video. Might have been the day before, but I think it was yesterday. And about the new direction that eBay is taking. One commenter who had some good ideas, and I think he could be onto something. I want to discuss that in case you missed that in the comment section. He was pretty much opposing me, or not really opposing me, but it was a different take, and I appreciate different takes. I always want this to be a place where I'm not going to be deleting comments unless they're, racist or something like that. But I can take constructive criticism. I am not always right. I am wrong more often than I'm right, I feel. I also have a fan on. I'm hoping it's not too loud. Let me know if it is for future videos so I won't. Not that we're going to be needing it too many more weeks of this year, which I kind of hate this time of year. I hate it and I love it. I hate it because we're coming into Q4, but I hate it because summer's leaving. So let's start off with a couple sales. Sold this Batman comic for, let's see, what did this sell for? $12 plus shipping. So it's going to Canada, so it was 16 or 17 shipped. I'm not sure what I had on the shipping. This is a graphic novel. It's an Elseworld, which is kind of like an alternate reality. And yeah, nothing too special about this. I'm trying to see if he maybe wants to add a few more. But it's a little different in Canada because Canada Post is just not like USPS. So, another comic sale. Person bought this for $6. I accepted an offer on it. And I was able to create a few more sales out of that purchase. I ended up selling, I think it was another $63 between these three comics. This is called Spider Femme. And the whole reason that this book even sees, I think, any sales is because it's done by this artist, Adam Hughes, and this is one of his earlier works. I sold this Prince book that I picked up. I gave him a little bit of a deal. I paid $15 for this at the comic show that I was at last month, sold it for $40. And then this Batgirl. So I was able to turn a $6 purchase into almost a $70 purchase. And I consider that a win. I have no objection to giving somebody a deal, especially in this climate that we're in. I'm trying to have a different approach. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm cutting back on my listing. I know that's oftentimes a big no-no, but I'm trying to cut down on my listings, and I'm trying to sell through. I got a ton of stuff online. Like, I have a ton of listings. So I'm trying to cut down the listing, list more locally, send out offers, run sales, and kind of see what happens. I ended up turning my promoted listings back on my wife's account. And so I always like to tell you guys what I'm doing. Trying to, I don't know, like, I felt like I wasn't really getting any sales, and I know it was only like a day, but my other store, the majority of these sales over the last couple of days had been from my store. So I'm just like, what's different, right? And I think this is where eBay gets you, and you're gonna hear this in a comment that I'm gonna read, but it's so true. It's like you turn off promoted listings because you think, oh, you've got unique items, you've got rare items, and people are gonna find them if they're searching, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. But when you don't get sales, and there are some reasons we might not be getting sales, as I'll be sharing one viewer's comment on YouTube that was literally kind of shadow banned or hidden. And like I said, I spoke with YouTube about this, so I'm going to read his comments. But you start to feel like you don't have a choice and you have to promote. And consider this. I can't remember if it was, I believe it was the auction professor. He did a live stream the other day, and he kind of mentioned that if everybody is promoting, and not everybody is, but if everybody is promoting, we're going to be back in the same boat that we were. Except eBay's making more money. There's not going to be any competitive advantage. Like if everybody started promoting at 10% across the board, just everybody, then we're going to be in the same exact boat as when everybody was not promoting anything. So the truth is, everybody should just go back to not promoting. I know I've mentioned that before, and it won't happen because, you know, this is the instead of the race to the bottom, the race to the top, the race to erasing your profitability as a reseller on eBay. This was a really good sale right here. This is an oil on canvas by, the artist is L.SULJE. And it is, I think it was 14 by 11. This sold for $153 plus 20 shipping and handling. And it is an original piece of work. It was a pretty good score at a thrift store. And yeah, happy to see that go. I really like selling art. And I thought it was a unique piece, and someone else thought that as well. And this is interesting. This hat sold for $25. It's brand new. I accepted an offer on it. And it's going to Canada. Now, a week or so ago, I accepted an offer to somebody who lived in the Maritimes in Canada, and like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI. It is brutal. Being on the West Coast, shipping to those, if it's any big size, and even smaller sizes are pretty brutal as well. So I messaged the buyer. I wanted to know what his zip code was. You know, like when you get an offer in the States, you see a zip code, so you have an idea regionally where it's at, so you can, in your mind, know what the shipping and handling is going to be. And I really wish eBay would do that with Canada as well, because if they live in the Northwest Territories in a very remote region, the shipping and handling can be brutal. So I called eBay and I asked them, I'm like, hey, I got this buyer, he's in Canada, and I already had sent an email to the buyer, but I wasn't hearing anything. I'm like, you're not really giving me any information, any private information that you don't already give about every other US buyer. I'm like, can you just tell me the zip code? And he did. And it wasn't that far. And so I was able to, you know, do a little detective work and determine, and I was somewhat surprised that eBay was cooperative about that, pleasantly surprised. And, you know, I think it made me better informed about making a decision. So that is something that you can do, especially if you are in Canada and you run into the same problem. Is you could contact eBay if you're getting offers for things for people who are in Canada as well. And then, oh my goodness, this one. So I sold these to Gods Must Be Crazy. You know, I've never watched these, and my wife was saying how absolutely hilarious they are. I really need to get around to watching these. These didn't sell for much. They sold for 10 plus shipping, and I'm gonna make a little bit on the shipping as well, but I could not find them. I literally spent way too much time looking, and then I was starting to get paranoid because I was looking at the time that I listed them to maybe give me, like, the date and the time, to maybe give me an idea of what else I was listing that day. That's another little trick that I do, especially when I am putting stuff in my inventory SKU boxes. I have like a letter system with boxes, and sometimes You know, I am not above forgetting to put the SKU on. So what I do is I'll go in and I'll look at the time of the date that I listed it, and I'll see what I was listing in that time, what boxes I was putting stuff in, and sometimes that has helped me. And I mean, I know the solution is just to keep a better inventory system, and I'm working on that. But they were nowhere to be found, and then I was running across other VHSs that I couldn't find either. So I'm like, okay, I know I have like 6 VHSs somewhere. Like, it's not that hard. And lo and behold, I have these old VHS storage drawers, but I don't normally keep VHS in there. I normally keep postcards in there because they work just really perfect to stand postcards up. They have like those little divider systems, and I mean, it was in the most obvious place. It was in the VHS storage drawer. But like I said, I don't normally keep my VHS there. I normally keep those on a shelf, and like just a stand-up shelf, and yeah. And I don't even have that many. So it's just, I probably spent a good hour, wasted time, wasted productivity, just looking for those. Okay, Banjo-Tooie sold this Nintendo 64 tape for $28. I had just picked this up last week. I had sold some locally. I showed you guys. I actually had somebody the same day that I sold this on eBay. I had somebody locally basically trying to like cut a deal. He was trying to like, and you know what I find so often, especially on Facebook Marketplace, is the ghosting mentality, the ghosting culture. They ask you about something or they express interest in it, and then they just never respond. I don't get that as much on Craigslist or any other platform that I use locally. But Facebook Marketplace, my wife and I, we were talking the other day, and she was like, why do people think that this is okay? Like, when did we become a culture that starts a dialogue and then they just disappear? I mean, I would say 50% of the people, and it might even be more of that, 50% of the people that message you on Facebook about a product, and I'm not even accounting for the scammer people that are trying to get your phone numbers. Do you guys find that about 50% of the people that interact with you on Facebook, they never respond, or they start the dialogue, there's a little bit of back and forth, and then you send a message, and then just poof. It is so annoying. It is so annoying. Sorry. I'm sure you all have experienced it too. It's annoying about, like, I come from a time where I try to treat others as I want to be treated, respect their time, and yeah, it's not okay to just not answer. If you're not interested, just say, okay, I changed my mind. All right, last sale, and then we're going to get into some YouTube stuff, and which if focuses on eBay. I sold these 4 Spawn comics. I accepted an offer. These are all Spawn Kills Everyone. And then this is Spawn Kills Everyone 2, and they're all different comics. Like, this is a variant of that. This is the 3rd printing, this is the 1st printing, and these sold for, I believe it was $32. They're really high grade, probably should have got a little bit more out of those, but a sale is a sale right now. You guys know what's up. All right, so, not last night's video, the video before that, there was some back and forth going on. All right, sorry, that took a little longer. My computer froze up. Now, this is on the video that I did, slow eBay sales, creating no motivation to list, visibility issues persist. Now, one person had responded that he went through my store and he about 15 listings, and he says that my pricing is in the middle of the pack and your items aren't even displayed on the first page. If someone sorts highest price to lowest, which most people don't, you also sell obscure items which are hard to search for. You're selling a camera for $30 that has an unlimited supply at $8. Why would somebody buy yours? And you know, he was basically saying that everything was on me. And you have to move on from this crazy conspiracy that eBay is holding you back. Well, who's going to search for a custom-made leather Aspen keychain now? I did comment all of those vintage keychains that I've got, I have sold so many of them. So but he wouldn't know that because he was only looking at my one store and I was selling all of these ones on my other store. If you truly eBay is holding you back, promote some of your low dollar items at 100%, and I promise you they still will not sell. Well, actually, John over at Flippin' It Easy did a test, and he promoted a couple items at 100% that had good sell-through rates, and they didn't sell. So, that's not really, that's not really an accurate thing to, in the real life to say. And all right, so. And then another person, wait, was this the same person? No. Yeah, the same person was saying trends and item demands change all the time. People complain they can't sell DVDs anymore. Adapt or you die. eBay does not restrict sales. It's how they make money. He's basically saying my logic is so stupid and a crutch. Failing sellers. Well, I'm not a failing seller. I look at my numbers and, that's kind of just rude to kind of say that and assume that. And assume that I'm not taking responsibility. Listen, I vote for $10 and you don't promote, it'll sell in seconds. So the response, a commenter that none of you have been able to read this, and I did call eBay today because I wanted to know what, I didn't call them, sorry. Creators have an access to like a chat feature. So I messaged them and I said, hey, I've got this one user, his comments are being banned, not shown, banned, flagged, whatever you want to call it. They're not being shown. And they didn't have an explanation. In fact, I'll read to you what they said to me. Because I took screenshots of it because and it's nothing like incredible, but he said, I have checked my resources and confirmed that this comment should be live on your video. Well, there's two comments. And then there's actually on this one, and then there's actually another one on another one that I released last night. But based on the comment I found, it should be live. Now, here's what I would be doing. Since some of your comments are not showing on your videos, I will be consulting this over to our internal team for further checking. Whatever that means. And then, so I had asked, is there anything wrong with this comment? Is there anything inappropriate? Is there anything that in any violation of YouTube terms, of free speech, is offensive? Is there anything wrong with this particular user? Has he been, is he flagged for some reason? And no to all of those answers. It was the only explanation that they did give, and I don't think I have that. He goes, it's possible, especially if the comments have been considered as spam, then they would most likely be removed. But to make sure why the comments are not being shown in your videos, it's best to have our internal team look into that. Now, this is actually a very well thought out. I can tell that he's worked up, this user. And I've communicated with him back and forth via email. And I understand why he's worked up, because when people's livelihoods are put at stake and money is on the line, it is frustrating. I have gotten worked up. I have created a lot of videos. I'm not a negative person. I'm frustrated because of the things that seem to be going on with eBay. And we're going to talk about the direction that it does look like they're going to, and we're going to hopefully maybe discuss, have a back and forth as to whether it's actually going to work. There's that. So, in response to the commenter who pretty much thinks I'm a garbage reseller, eBay is literally shadow banning listings. That's not up for a debate. If I type in the exact 8-word title, and as I'm reading these, he gives a whole list of things that could happen that could get your listing not to be seen. And as you're listening to these, think about if it makes sense, if it doesn't make sense, if you believe this has happened to you, I just think that some of these things, I remember reading these last night. I was like, oh yeah, I never really thought about that. And so, yeah, so I'm going to try to encapsulate it as much as I can because it's quite long. But he's basically saying if I search for my item and he enters in the exact same thing, that could be shadow banning. And I'm going to give you a whole list of other reasons that could be shadow banning. If I list for my item and it finally appears amongst 5 other results, but then my item suddenly disappears when I sort by lowest to highest price, even though I'm the cheapest listing by far. When a buyer attempts to make a purchase from my store and get a prompt that says, this seller is currently out of stock, even though on my end it shows that I have 10 available. Now, I don't know how a seller would know that unless a buyer tries. Now, Nash, that's this particular guy's username. Has that happened to you? Has a buyer reached out to you and say, hey, it shows that you're in stock, but I'm getting this error message? I'm assuming that's what happened. When eBay admits to capping sales from sellers at a certain rate to maintain a responsible seller sales growth rate, they have admitted to that. When I average 30 sales per day, but suddenly go 20 hours without a sale because I have 2 open return cases that I refuse to refund because I'm disputing them due to them being obvious scams against me, that can be very frustrating. You know, I don't generally sell a ton of high-end items, and a lot of times for me, I don't like to keep returns open. And if I have any issues where I kind of want to dispute it, but I don't ever let it go to the thing where eBay makes the decision. I kind of feel eBay out for those things. I like to call them, explain my situation, and they have oftentimes taken care of me. I've never lost a return case that I fully disputed. There have been some doozies as well, but I feel for that. Like I can relate to feeling like you're being scammed, and I'm sure every single one of you guys can. And maybe you had slow sales during that time and maybe you didn't. There's no way to measure that. When a buyer purchases a hat off me for 20 and right after they purchase it, they are shown the ad for the exact same hat for at 18, that's almost shadow banning. That's just rude. And there could be other reasons for that I touched upon yesterday. They could be, it's to their advantage. If you do not promote or promote at a low rate and someone is promoting at a higher rate, it is to eBay's advantage for a buyer to purchase that promoted listing from them. They will make more money. It's shady as hell, and it's disgusting. And eBay should never show the exact same item. They should only show like items. They should only show items that they think that buyer might like in addition to. Like, I think that practice is going to come back to bite eBay in the butt. I think a lot of sellers are, all things being equal, if another platform were to ever come out and they weren't doing these kinds of shady ass practices, then I think that would be a deal breaker for sellers to just be like, you know what, screw this. I really think eBay needs to revisit some of these tactics that they're using and try to look at the big picture. Try to not steal sales from sellers. It's hard enough to get a buyer on your page and then they see the exact same item. Another reason why I don't love selling, items that I like selling unique items. When a buyer searches for vintage striped cashmere turtle sweater, and the first 5 results in the page are randomly sponsored listings for brand new water bottles and a Chinese mega seller, that's kind of shadow banning. I mean, if I list 20 iPhones, I thought this was so classic, because this is in response to the guy saying list an iPhone for $10. If I list 20 iPhones tomorrow, my entire store will be hidden and an audit will be done on my store. That is so perfect and so true. eBay eBay will randomly make a seller go 10 hours without a sale in order to manipulate them into increasing their promoted listing fees. I felt that. I felt that yesterday. And then I decided to put my sale back on for, I think that was 3%. Just to appease the eBay mafia. Just to, appease the, oh God, Cassini. Please, I'm listing. I'm running sales. I don't do coupons. That's just too much of a hassle. I'm sending offers. Cassini, please send me sales. It's garbage. If I list a Mattel doll for $200 now and a couple other sellers have it listed for $100, that doesn't mean I'm a bad eBay seller. That means that I'm aware of the price, that the price will double in early December when the doll is sold out. If you find a book for $20 in my eBay store and laugh at me because there's a bunch on eBay for $8, that simply means that when I listed it, it was worth $25. But since I have 8,000 listings, I don't have to price check every single item every day of the year. And I'd rather wait for the book to come back in demand at 20 instead of racing to the bottom to everyone make pennies. That is so spot on. That is so spot on. So maybe that camera, when I listed it at the time, it was selling at a higher rate. And I don't have time to go back. So what I do is when I delete and I relist, I lower the price. I lower the price because if it hasn't sold, then it needs to come down a little bit. But I do it a little bit at a time. And I do it strategically. And I know this is going to fly into the face, and I'm probably going to get a bunch of "you're an idiot seller for thinking like this." But I went so long without a proper inventory system. Okay, I was getting pretty passionate about what was going on, and I didn't realize there was a weed whacker out there. Sorry about that. So I shut the window, turned my fan off. I'm probably going to roast, but I went so long without a proper inventory system that I'm okay with my prices being high because I want people to make offers to give me the opportunity to find it. Now, I'm working on my inventory system. I'm only human. And when I have everything completely perfectly organized and in its place, then my prices will across the board come down. But I also know most buyers, they don't have a problem with offering 50% has become the new normal. I don't necessarily want every item of mine to just sell immediately because of the strict penalties that eBay enforces for being out of stock. So that's why I used to actually price my items intentionally high, knowing they're going to go into a sale, knowing that I'm going to send offers. All right, we're almost done with this. If you think this applies to me. If you think an item in my store is so weird that nobody could possibly search for it naturally, please remember that I have thousands of sellers who have subscribed to my eBay channel and are frequently making bundle deals by scrolling through everything in my store. Please quit listening to people who don't sell on items anymore, like your hero, rockstar, flipper, and daily refinement. Their iPhone analogy has been debunked just like you. These are not my words. This is from the seller. Also, keep in mind, I promote my store locally. So people can go to my store when they buy things from me locally, browse it, peruse it, whatever you want to say, and find something that they didn't know that they wanted. Now, and then there was a second comment. He goes, yeah, in your own words, you admit that eBay has billions of dollars, so they don't care if you lose millions of dollars by manipulating the sellers into following their new mafia playbook. They want to weed out the non-obedient sellers, even if it means losing millions of buyers and sellers, as long as the end result is that the new eBay looks something like Amazon and not some weird Craigslist-y type of platform. Bye-bye adult section. Bye-bye random cool vintage stuff. But I'm hoping that it's bye-bye new eBay CEO. If there are enough people like you who are adapting and pivoting to the corporate carrot dangling in front of you, then you just may get your wish of never-ending increased promoted listings. And I feel that if that doesn't hit home, I don't know. Then you are a different kind of seller than I. You have a different mentality than I. I believe diversity is important. I do not like to conform to anybody. I can totally see that. I can totally see this. What is going on with eBay is a long-term plan, a strategic plan to, what's the word I'm looking for? I believe the people who are putting up the most resistance to promoted listings are the people who have been selling the longest, because they know that this is not the way it's supposed to be. Newer sellers, I can almost see them liking promoted listings in a way. They think it's a good thing. Like I remember seeing an ad recently, and I took a screenshot of it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. But it was an ad for promoted listings somewhere on my Google feed, and they had these testimonials of people praising eBay for this new ad system. You're literally, and I don't know who knows if they were actually real testimonials, if they were just fake eBay testimonials that they put up there to try to get people to buy into this amazing idea, you can promote your listings. But, and so new sellers who are coming into the market now, they don't know any different. They don't know any different from the 15% final value fees, 12 to 15%. But now that, combined with promoted listings, combined with store fees, combined with, every other fee that eBay has for us, that is their normal. That is their normal. And it's not normal. It's conforming, and that was bang on. So I'm gonna get to his other. I'm gonna locate his other comment that was not banned, but just not shown. All right. I have some important concepts that I kind of want to get across, and I appreciate every one of you who watch and listen to me ramble on and go off on tangents, and I'm not the best at explaining myself. But I've reread Nash's last comment about weeding out the non-obedient sellers. And I think there's something very important here. In Western society, we don't treat older people, and older doesn't have to be old, but experienced people, we don't treat them very well. We think they're outdated. We think that they don't know what they do. We think they're slow to adapt. They're stubborn. They don't know what they're talking about. And the concept that the older sellers who are seeing and complaining about the changes in the platform, well, they're just outdated dinosaurs and they don't know what they're talking about. Promoted listings is great. But, and it is absolutely true that eBay could be weeding us out. But like the auction professor says, is if everybody is promoting at X amount percent, they're going to have to come up with another strategy that they're going to profit on to differentiate yourself and your listings. And that is not a good thing. So by focusing on the new sellers and making promoted listings the norm, the standard, the gold standard, they are rewriting eBay's history, right? They're going away from what made eBay great. Now, I really do believe eBay is at a crossroads right now in terms of the strategies that they're trying to implement, and it remains to be seen whether it will work or not. It will take time, and it's possible that it won't work. Like, I personally believe eBay has an opportunity. They have the name brand recognition. They have that. They could be so great, but instead they're choosing to focus on high sell-through rates and all this stuff. But eBay is trying to rewrite history. Now, I'm probably going to catch a lot of slack for saying this. And I'm horrible, as I said, at explaining concepts or things that I've heard in the past, but I read or I watched something about how corporations, how governments, governments try to rewrite history, corporations, big business can rewrite history. And I'm going to give you an example of how this is happening right now. Nikola Tesla, an amazing individual, wanted to bring free energy to the world. Powers that be, they didn't want that to happen. A lot of new people, a lot of younger people have no idea who Nikola Tesla is. Do you know what comes up when you type in Tesla in Google? Do it. You'll see one tiny little Wikipedia result on Nikola Tesla while everything else is about Tesla. 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, are people going to know who Nikola Tesla is? I mean, you don't see movies being made about him. They would rather make movies about Napoleon or whatever mass murdering serial killer that they choose to glorify. It's not easy to rewrite history. It's not easy to rewrite a company's history either, which is kind of what seems to be happening. As I said, we'll discuss that in time. I want to read the other comment that so Mayor Baby 1175. I don't have a problem with you either. Why I'm saying that is I'm going to read your comment. And then I'm going to read two comments, one that is on my channel that you can see, and one that you can't see because it has been blocked, censored. I don't know. YouTube couldn't tell me why it's not there. They had to report it to their engineers. So, but what I can do is I can share it. So Mayor Baby was the one in the previous yesterday's 2 days ago video that. We had some back and forth, and I value everybody's opinion. We all have to remember new sellers, old sellers, good sellers, bad sellers. We are in this together. We shouldn't be attacking each other. Like, if anything, that's what eBay wants. They want to take the focus off of them so they can implement their master plan, weeding out the non-conformist sellers. So Mayor Baby says, I watch as I like to gain perspective because I challenged him. I'm like, why are you watching if you don't agree? And this is his answer. And this is a good answer. I watch as I like to gain perspectives that are different of those that are of my own. As far as the records and media, charity resellers can undercut everyone as they get discounts that the average person will not get. If the seller's records come up in search results, they're being seen and they're simply not being bought. All he has to do is search for the item and sort low to high. If his item is there, it's visible. You're right. We simply will not agree on listings being restricted. Promoted listings will be pushed to the top. However, if you sort low to high and you are the lowest price, your item will be on top. Where I do agree with you is that there are very long-term issues can arise with eBay being... Where I do agree with you is that in the very long-term issues can arise with eBay because of how they treat their sellers. You said whom they treat their sellers, but I think you meant how they treat your sellers. If Mercari and Poshmark performed at the same level as eBay, I would not use eBay. Merc and Posh take care of their sellers in ways that are unheard of on eBay. Last thing you mentioned, I don't like you, I don't know you personally, and have no issue with you, just a different opinion. Totally understand, I have no issue with you as well. Kaler Bricks said, I can state factually that listings are hidden from time as well as all search results being foreign. On more than one occasion, I have searched for my own item by the exact search terms in a listing and it is not there. A lot of times I search and everything on the page is from any country but the US. I thought I was losing it because it doesn't make any sense for eBay to do it, right? But after 30 or 20 times, I'm sorry, but the only conclusion is that they are hidden. I also did inventory on Lego minifigures and removed all that were listed in my store, only to have those same figures sell over the next few weeks. Please explain how for me. Where were they on the site when I did inventory? My SKU system isn't complicated. Bin 1, bin 2, etc. So it wasn't a mistake there. They were just gone, but came back and sold later. There is truth in what he's saying. Don't think it's intentional, but eBay has some real issues that they seem to correct, then repeat. And I have heard of, and I kind of think it's happened to me, where I've sold something, I know that I've sold it, and then somehow it gets relisted. And I don't keep things in my unsolds. I try to keep that as clean as possible, so when I delete and relist, I don't relist things that I sold. And I remember speaking with eBay one time where I kind of explained that to him, and he's like, yeah, we did have a period in time, and I think it was like the fall of 2022 or the fall of 2021, I'm not sure, where there was glitches in the system and items that were selling were getting relisted. And they said they weren't holding that against the seller if they could determine that was the case. I don't know how that was the case. But so what I'm going to read to you now is Nash's comment again that nobody could see. If you wanted to buy H.P. Lovecraft's Complete Fiction Barnes & Noble's edition on eBay, you'd probably type Lovecraft's Complete Fiction Barnes, and you'd get 101 results. Lovely. Now sort by the lowest price to highest price. Suddenly it's down to 37. Interesting. Guess who had the lowest price copy out of the 101 listings, and it didn't even show up in the 37 results? Me. It happens every day. Look up Beatles Xbox 360 on eBay. There will be 540 results. And if you sort by the lowest price to the highest price, you will suddenly get 61. But yes, you can click on the invisible tab that says see more results. But most buyers don't do that. But for the 37 Lovecraft results, there isn't even an invisible see more results tab. I've looked up items where there are 5 results. And when I sort by lowest to highest, one of the results disappears, even though that disappearing result was actually the lowest price. And yes, in that particular example, I was the owner of the item that disappeared. I'm a top-rated seller for 23 years, same-day shipping, 100% positive feedback, sold over 30,000 items, but oops, I don't do the promoted listing endless pyramid scheme. But yeah, you might want to do some more research. The trait just list iPhones bro theory doesn't prove anything. It could be an exception to the mafia rule, or it could be a way to get audited by eBay. This guy has taken the time. He's backed up with search results, data. He's a long-term experienced eBay seller. There's no reason that he should be going through what he is going through, assuming everything is 100% accurate, which I don't have any reason to believe that it wouldn't be. It's really, really scary. Now, I just had a couple more comments that I wanted to read. I'm going to wrap this video up, and then in the next video, I'll focus on the comments that are kind of talking about kind of like the new we'll say the new eBay. So this is from Big Mac Lover 351. Boy, could I go for a Big Mac right now. Sellers and buyers are both leaving eBay because eBay throttles sellers, so they only get 4 or 5 sales a week at best, unless you're big time. Wow, I must be big time. I got like 7 sales yesterday in one day, or in one 24-hour period. But I sell garbage, and my prices are too high. Sorry, I get a little sarcastic. I just like to have fun too, right? Because at the end of the day, everything that we're going through, it is laughable, but it is extremely irritating and frustrating because of the consequences. And I haven't even talked about counterfeit items or veros or any of that. Honestly, eBay is so much drama. We should make a sitcom, guys. There should be a sitcom about eBay. There's something there. They can make a sitcom but called The Office. There could be something here. And buyers don't get connected to the items they want because the search is corrupt and a mess. Shareholder greed ruined a once great platform. This BS about needing to list daily to boost sales, all this BS needed to boost sales never existed 10 years ago. And sell high quality items at good prices never even used to be a thing. Back in my day, you could literally list anything and it would sell. Hence why the flipper era even started. You could literally flip anything. Non-working cigarette lighter, 20 cents. Used toilet paper, that's pushing it. But back then it would have sold. Now Longines watches sit there for 4 weeks before scammers try their luck. Another experienced long-term seller, which he'll probably just be lumped, like that comment will just be lumped into, oh, he's not keeping up with the times. But there's a lot of wisdom in people who have been doing this a long time. And to discount their experiences is downright insulting. Yeah. 2 more, and these are short ones. Ty Johnson, and I don't recognize any of these users. Welcome. If you've commented before, I get a lot of comments and I appreciate every one of them. Welcome. And I should say now, before I normally do this at the end, if you haven't subbed and you enjoy this content, please do so. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs, trying to actually monetize this channel on some level. Like, subscribe, comment. The more input, the more information that gets put out there, the more information that gets shared, and other newer sellers are alerted and understand that this doesn't have to be the way it is, the more pushback and the more pull that we have against eBay. I do know that eBay is not, they have changed policy based on pushback, based on seller suggestions, sellers' feedback. If we don't try to make changes now, it is going to be 10 times harder in the future. If we don't express to them our opinions on the direction of eBay, I don't know. eBay will not exist in its current form. It will be the new eBay. And, that's, yeah. Well, anyhow, for more research on the promoted theory, I list rare in-demand video games at lowest prices available. I promote at 2%, no views, but my older non-rare listings I promote high, and those are being seen and selling again. And then WWZ 1011 says, buyers come to eBay for one reason, selection. I would also add to that, price. Because we're not getting the prices for things that we used to get anymore. And I think a lot of buyers are catching on to that. And I don't want to say they're taking advantage of it, but if you buy a lot on eBay and like Marcus over at Dixon's Pixons was saying how, 50% below your listing price is like the new norm. And it is the new norm because sellers are accepting that. So, it's the new norm now. What's it going to be 2 years from now? Is it going to be 65%? Because I guarantee you, buyers will continue to push that envelope until they are getting countered or declined. So I believe it's selection and price. And to be honest with you, I would almost add, I could probably do a whole post about this, but if you think about this from the seller's point of view, the customer service that generally, maybe it's just me, but I try to go above and beyond when it comes to customer service. For example, let me give you an example. When I couldn't find these, I had these listed for 15. I had them listed for 22 Canadian. It was on my wife's store, so it would have been like $2 American. No, I'm kidding. It would have been like $17 or something like that. So I had him listed. He made an offer for 15 Canadian. I messaged him and I told him I couldn't find them. I needed to take the listing down because I know myself. I know that I was just going to have stress if I'm looking for it knowing that maybe he just might buy it. I've had buyers make offers and then I don't respond, and then sometimes they just buy it right away. So I messaged him and I told him I'm going to take this down, and that when I'll relist it, and he was cool with that. And I said, for your inconvenience, make an offer for $13.50, and when I find it, and I'll accept. So I gave him a 10%, another 10% discount, because I try to take care of my customers. So I don't know too many businesses out there where the seller literally bends over backwards to complete a sale. If eBay continues to abuse sellers, selection will go down, sellers will go to other platforms. At that point, buyers will also leave. Whether eBay learns this truth, I doubt it. I've been saying that. I have been saying that. So with that said, I know this video has gone on super long. There was a lot of meat to it, I think. Let me know what you guys think. And, I'll be making another video tomorrow, because there's just, I didn't do many videos last week, and it just seems like there's so much going on right now. There's so much to talk about. Peace and blessings, and we will see you on the flip side, guys. Take care. Have a great Saturday night.